Okay, what if I told you that your website traffic going down could actually be a good thing? No, it sounds totally nuts, but in this new age of AI, the old rulebook for online success is basically being thrown out the window. So let's get into what this really means for you.
We have to get our heads around the fact that a massive shift is happening. The simple act of just Googling something. Yeah, it's not so simple anymore. AI is jumping in as this super powerful new go-between, and it's changing everything about how we find stuff online. And that brings us to the big question, the one that's probably keeping marketers and, business owners up at night. You've done all the SEO, you've optimized your site, but your clicks, they're just not showing up like they used to.
Well, the answer actually has a name. It's called a zero-click search. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's when a search engine uses AI to just give you the answer right there on the results page. You ask, you get an answer, boom. Your search is over before it even really begins.
And what's making this all happen? We're talking about those AI overviews that cook up a whole summary for you right at the top of the page. Or, the featured snippets that just pull out the perfect little chunk of text to answer your question instantly. These are the engines driving this whole zero-click world.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a complete disaster for businesses, right? But here's where the script flips. It's about totally changing the road a customer takes to find you. The whole journey is getting shorter, a lot shorter. Just think about how we used to do it. You do a big, vague search, open like 15 tabs, and then get completely lost trying to compare everything. Well, now, AI is doing all that annoying first-step research for you. So when someone finally decides to engage with a brand, they're not just browsing, they're informed and they're ready to go. And here's the key thing to realize. The traffic that's disappearing, it's not really the traffic we should be upset about losing. These were the just looking clicks, the people who were just kicking the tires. Honestly, they were miles away from ever becoming a real customer anyway. And this is the real payoff. Because AI handled all the basic questions, the person who does eventually click through to your site isn't a casual browser anymore. Nope, they've already done their homework, they are way more qualified and a whole lot closer to making a decision. So, if we're not chasing those early clicks, what should we be chasing? This is where a huge mental shift has to happen. We've got to stop obsessing over raw traffic numbers and start focusing on something that's a little harder to measure but way more valuable: trust. Let me be crystal clear about this. The number one goal is no longer about getting the click. The goal is to be the source that the AI cites in its answer. You want your brand, your data, your info to be right there front and center in that AI overview. That is the new prize. And why is that so important? Every single time your brand pops up as the source, you're building familiarity. You're positioning yourself as the expert. But the most important part, you're building trust with a potential customer before they've even had a chance to visit your website. Okay, so if the goalposts have moved, then the way we keep score has to change too. We need a whole new dashboard for this new game. Just looking at your website traffic numbers by themselves, it's a flawed strategy now. That number doesn't tell you the whole story. It doesn't tell you if you're building authority or winning trust where it now matters most, inside those AI answers. So here's kind of how our thinking has to evolve. For awareness, we stop obsessing over top funnel traffic and start tracking AI citations. For engagement, we look past click-through rates and start measuring our share of SERP features, which is basically how much of the results page do you actually own. And for brand impact, we're looking for an increase in people searching for our brand by name. So these are your new vital signs. How many times is your brand actually getting mentioned by AI? How many of those cool features, like snippets and info boxes, are you appearing in? And is all that work leading to more people searching for you directly? That's how you know if you're actually winning. When it comes down to it, everything we've talked about, the zero-click searches, the new ways of measuring, the focus on just being seen, it all points back to this one single idea. AI is taking this long, winding customer journey and turning it into a straight shot. So we'll leave you with this to chew on. In a world that's all about answers, not links, how is your brand going to get seen? When people are just asking for answers directly, it's not good enough to just have the information anymore. You have to be the trusted source that AI picks to put in front of them. So the question is, how are you going to make sure that's you?